Action.
All right, welcome back. This is Rob from Aponte's Pizza Kitchen. We changed it to Aponte's Pizza Kitchen. It just has a nicer ring to it, unique name that's popular in different areas of the world, and especially in Puerto Rico, and it's popular in Europe and in some parts of South America. So here we go. So we're in the next phase, and that is sharing our home tomato sauce recipe, and this is basically the same recipe I use for all the different styles of pizzas that I make. So starting out, the type of tomato sauce we're using, the majority of it at least, is called San Marzano Tomatoes, okay? Made by Cento, and this tomato is the standard for the tomatoes they use in Naples. They have a mountain there called Mount Vesuvius, and they grow these seeds in their volcanic soil there. But you don't have to buy the certified ones that they call them DOP tomatoes, meaning it's certified that it's grown there. There's many of these tomatoes are grown in California and in East Coast, New Jersey, and other states, so they grow them. As long as you get local tomatoes, I mean, if you're able to get farm to table, that's the ultimate, that's the best standard. But Cento is a very good brand. Costco makes a real good brand that's like a 3-pack, and it's organic San Marzano tomatoes. Walmart sells them. Kroger store sells San Marzano tomatoes. Whole Foods sells them. Sprouts, I haven't seen them at Sprouts yet, but they're very popular. So this is what we use: peeled tomatoes, San Marzano peeled tomatoes. And then my version of this tomato sauce also includes the Contadina sauce. And then this is a Contadina is a very good product. It's a non-GMO product, so it doesn't have any bad stuff in it. So here we go. Let's start out. So I'm using a pressure cooker. The reason why I'm using a pressure cooker, it just helps, you have added health benefits with doing a pressurized cook on the sauce. It gets rid of plenty of anti-nutrients that are not good for you as far as seeded tomato sauce. So that it'll reduce those anti-nutrient levels. And Christina, what are those anti-nutrients that it helps reduce?
So the anti-nutrients, one of the most dangerous ones is lectins, which cause inflammation and weight gain. And many people have joint pain from eating foods that are high in lectins, specifically nightshades, and tomatoes are definitely nightshade foods. And so if you cook them in the pressure cooker, it does greatly reduce the anti-nutrients and the inflammatory components of the nightshade type of tomatoes. All tomatoes actually are nightshades, but you know, we have a nation of people walking around with joint pain, weight gain, and inflammation.
Yeah.
And this is one of the ways that you could enjoy some of those foods on a little bit more of a regular basis without noticing some of those effects, those side effects that you would notice if you just go and hang out and pig out at a pizza joint here in our nation. So, I mean, and so those are the added health benefits.
If you don't have a pressure cooker, that's okay. If you're just starting out, go ahead and just do this mixture. You don't have to preheat it. Just do this mixture. Typically, you want to do it a day before you're going to bake. But since I have a pressure cooker, I usually do it the morning of, so I'm a little behind schedule, kind of. But because after I heat it up, I let it release naturally with the heat, the pressure, and then I let it cool down before I start the bake of the pizzas. But if you don't have that, that's fine. Just make a similar mixture and then put it in the fridge. Let those spices blend together beautifully a day before, and that way that next day it's just going to be amazing. You'll be hitting Flavor Town, and as Ratatouille, you know, that movie Ratatouille, all the flavors just amalgamate and they just become extremely yummy and fabulous and tremendous. All right, so here we go. So with the pressure cooker, I usually coat it a little bit with some coconut oil. All right, and then they always recommend a little bit of water so it doesn't, nothing sticks in the bottom. So I put 1/4 of a cup of water. And what I've seen in Italy and Naples is many of them they love to use their hands and everything. So with the peeled tomatoes, I don't put it in a food processor. I basically squeeze them by hand. So I'm gonna pour this in, and I'm gonna squeeze these by hand. Do you see, Christina? Do you see everything?
Yes, I can see you squeezing it by hand. I'm glad you're not stomping on them with your feet like Lucy.
Yeah, that would be bad. I mean, that wouldn't be sanitary, but yeah, they used to do that with the grapes in the vineyards. That's funny. But and the good thing about pressure cookers, it's less messy. When I make a pasta sauce, whether it's for spaghetti or whatever it is, less messy. You know, I remember making sauce on the stove top and just causing all kinds of mess. So this is it just encapsulates everything in here. Just kind of squeeze it here. Get that. I don't want it too you know, thin. I want some of those chunks in there because they taste great. So just trying to maximize the taste here. Now it's kind of messy, so let me rinse my hands. All right, Trebek, I'm back. Thank you, Trebek. All right, so now the second part is the tomato sauce that I'm going to blend. And then let's go ahead and proceed with the ingredients. All right. So as far as fresh ingredients, let's start with that. I have fresh oregano. And you could also buy there's a Mediterranean oregano leaves that they sell on Amazon. Those are great as well. They're kind of like freeze dried, so they maintain the freshness. But I prefer getting fresh oregano from the local markets, local grocery stores. Organic is better because it's not GMO. But I'm gonna peel some of these in here. It's just it smells amazing. It brings this sauce, any kind of pasta sauce you make, you put fresh oregano on there, fresh basil, fresh garlic. You're just going to another level of Flavor Town, you know what I mean? So, it'll be extra yummy.
Looks like 3 sprigs?
2 full ones and 1/2, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, just get the non-GMO version. You know, it's just... Okay, now I have the basil that I got from one of my plants here. Smells amazing. Wow. I'm going to tear these up. Fresh basil, nothing like fresh basil on anything. Any sauce you make. As a finishing topping, there's plenty of people that do it. They cook with basil on top of the pizza, or they wait until after the pizza's done and they put it as a finishing topping. Either way, it's still great. So. And we're going to be using basil in the next video session. Christina will be the superstar, and she'll be making the pesto, showing you how we make the pesto sauce at home. So that requires plenty of basil, right, Christina?
Yes.
So that's the basil, and then I have fresh onions.
What kind of onions? Just regular onions?
Yeah, regular onions. I mean, if you want, the healthier ones are we live in the U.S., so the ones that are imported from China, they don't have that, where's it at? I have it right here. I learned this on the Food Critic online. They don't have this stump ending. They like chlorinate it or bleach them. And bleach is not good, I mean, for flour, for anything. So this is why we filter our water. So these are not bleached. They're California onions. And this is how you know that it's from a local state. It has this stump. And they look, typically the ones that come from China don't have that stump and it's bleached. So you don't want those. So this is how I know these are California onions. All right, let's proceed. So I'm going to go ahead and shave off these. I got this little scraper here.
I And what are you using that for?
To shave off the onions. Okay. Slice them up.
Okay.
And they go in these little skinny slices. Just beautiful. And I'll take one out to show you in case you can't see with the camera. Beautiful. See, they're like real thin. See that? Mm-hmm. A little bit more. You never have enough. I don't know. I love garlic, so I love garlic on just about everything. What about you, Christina?
Not as garlicky as you like it, but I do like garlic.
Garlic is amazing. And I think that's enough. One more clove, and then it's whatever your preference is as far as your garlic.
Now, you were just talking about onions, and you mentioned California onions. Did you really mean garlic bulbs?
Oh, wow, garlic cloves. Wow, that's a good catch. Is that what I said?
Yes.
See? This is why my partner in crime, Christina, we're a good team. That is a good catch. So yes, what I meant was garlic cloves. Onions, I mean, everybody grows onions everywhere. And I'm pretty sure that there's some great farms out here that grow tremendous garlic cloves as well. All right, so that'll do it with garlic. Set this aside. And then I'm going to put a little bit of black pepper, like a pinch. And so I don't want too much. Just a little bit, pinch of garlic, black pepper, a little bit of onion powder.
You're cooking like my grandma. A pinch of this and a pinch of that.
Yeah. And then some olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. Gotta have this. Okay. And I put a little bit, I mean, this is not a typical part of the recipe, but I put a little bit of Italian seasoning. Has, you know, rosemary, thyme, marjoram, savory, sage, you know, oregano, a little bit of oregano basil blend, but I put a little bit of this to have the rest of the blend. And it's working out good, right, Christina? Mm-hmm. But you don't have to do that. Typically, it's a little bit of black pepper, fresh garlic, fresh basil, fresh oregano, and olive oil, and then a little bit of pinch of salt. And I'm going to go over the salt advisory. And that's enough. Okay. All right. So with salt, you got to be careful. And as I mentioned in previous videos, we have to consider all the toppings we're going to be putting on it. You know, flour already had salt in it, so you don't want to have too much sodium content in the whole recipe. So you have to consider that, because if you put too much salt in the sauce, then you're not accounting for what the cheese has
and the meat,
the toppings, and the toppings, the meat. This is why we're careful on what meats we buy. We want to buy quality meats, but at the same time we keep in mind the sodium content that it has, whether it's cheese or pepperoni, sopressata, or turkey, or whatever it is. We have to account for the salt. Okay, so I'm only going to put a little pinch. This is sea salt, of course. It could be fine. A little bit of pinch, that's it. And then I put a little bit of sugar to give it a little sweeter texture. This is palm sugar, but you don't have to do that, you know. It's just my preference. I think that's enough. I'm not going to put all this in there. Alright. But that's just our, you know, this is our version of the sauce that we make. But whatever you prefer, and we experiment with it. I always experiment, you know, to try to make it better. And what works, see what doesn't work for you. You know, so I'm going to go ahead and mix it before I start the pressure cooker. And am I missing anything else, Christina?
I think you got it covered.
We got everything right. All right, thanks for that, catching that that error on the garlic. All right, so I'm gonna put the cover on.
How long are you going to cook it for?
So this is, it's going to heat up, and it's going to pressure cook. Well, it's first, the way these pressure cookers work is they heat up to a certain level, and then I have to make sure it's sealed. This is an Instapot, but they make all kinds of pressure cookers. So it'll take a certain amount of minutes to heat up whatever you're putting in here to a certain level, and then it gets to a eventual pressure mode, and then for that pressure mode I have like 4 minutes. And so 4 minutes, and then after the 4 minutes, then it's a cooling down stage, and I usually let it natural release, and that takes about a half hour after the 4 minutes. So yeah, that's where we're at. So I think that concludes the tomato sauce, our home recipe, tomato sauce recipe for now. So we're going to proceed to the pesto sauce that Christina's going to make. So I'll see you then.
Ciao for now.
Yep, take care.